Hello everybody, this will be a quick video on trend lines and kind of what they are and how to use them. If you guys like any of this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Um, anyways, looking at the asset for Bitcoin, this works on any asset in crypto, but in this case I'm going to be using Bitcoin. And so to access this in TradingView, you go to your left hand side toolbar, click on trend line, and then you just draw appropriately, I guess. One way of doing it is using it as a resistance line. If you guys haven't seen my other video in support and resistance, I highly recommend checking that one out. But in this one, I am on the daily time frame, and with this, you can use the trend as your friend until the end. That's how the old saying goes. But with this, you can draw out the trend, and you can see we are in a steady downcline on the daily time frame on the Bitcoin chart. I usually make my trend lines bright green, neon green, but if you want to extend the trend line all the way down, I recommend extend right line, and here it'll give you a continuous trend line going all the way down. Anyways, what you want to look for when drawing a trend line is common touching points or reaction points where price goes to validate your trend line. And so using this, I usually like to draw the trend line so it's touching the body of the candlestick. What I mean by that is the hard shaped, the shell part of it, and not the wick. The wick is kind of more like the skinny part to it, and it looks like a wick in a way. And so with this, you just draw it, and you can see it touched it a few times. And so up here, it got a rejection. Up here, kind of touched it, got a rejection. Up here, got a rejection. Up here, and got a rejection. Now, most of the time, you aren't going to be seeing a clear trend when this is happening. And so it's always useful to have multiple touches. I recommend 3 or 2, but mostly 3 candle touches to make it a steady trend line. And usually price tends to break it on the 5th or 6th touch on it. And so that's just a rule of thumb, what I came across when in my trading career. I don't use trend lines a whole lot, but I use them for, I guess, the trend when I'm trading it. And I'm not much of a breakout trader, but it does help me identify extra confluence between support and resistance when I'm using it. And so what to look for when price does break out of a trend is that you want to look for price coming back to retest the trend line as support. And so in this case, the trend line is acting as resistance. And so once price is breaking out of that trend line, you want to wait for it to come back and touch support in this case. And then you can enter a long and ride the price up. I mean, that is a common trading strategy, a very beginner one. I personally don't use it, but it's just something to keep in mind. Now, trend lines also work with support, and in this, I will draw a trend line that used to be support. And so what you're looking for is common major touches. You want to try to get as many touches to the line as possible. And here you can see price touched it like 3 times, and then finally it bounced off of this one and then broke it on about the 5th time. And price never really retested that trend line, but there are times where it doesn't. I'll try to look for a time where it does retest the trend line. Oh yeah, right here. And so this is acting as support, this trend line right here. Let me delete this trend line so it's not confusing. But As you can see right here, it touched it once, touched it twice, touched it again, broke it, and then it came up and retested it, and it was acting as resistance, and price rejected off of that trend line. And so it's useful to keep trend lines on your chart even when they have been broken, because sometimes price will come back and retest it as a support or resistance. In this case right here, it was acting as a resistance. Let's try to do another one. I guess a common one could be right here where we're doing support. And so when you're looking at this, you want to just identify two touches and go based off of that. It doesn't always have to be on higher time frames. It does work on lower time frames. I'll get into that soon. But on this case, we had price come down to it once, come up, down to it twice, come up, down to it a third time, and it broke it, and then it retested it as resistance, and it rejected off of it. And so trend lines are pretty useful and an easy way to kind of identify a support and resistance. Now, when I say support and resistance, you want to look for places where people believe they will set their buy and sell orders to. It's not a that's like a technical term to describing support and resistance in a way. Now let's take a look of using a trend line on a smaller time frame. For example, right here, we can use a trend line to put a place where we are making a higher high, in other words, and price is touching it as support. And right now it just broke it. And right now, at the moment, we're rejecting off of it and it's acting as resistance. And so you can use trend lines on any time frame, really. But like any trading, the higher time frames are more reliable when it comes to using trend lines. And so another trend line you could have drawn was, I guess, this, where we had trend line acting as resistance. As you can see, it rejected 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it finally broke out on the 5th time. And right here, it came and it broke it again. That's something you have to be cautious on, is when price does break a trend line and it flips the support and resistance. In this case, the trend line was a resistance, and now it was acting as support, but it broke that support. And so that's what you kind of have to be careful of when you are trading as a breakout trader. But let me delete these. And so a trend line really works on any 2 points that you believe that will create a trend, I guess, and it validates a support and resistance that you can use as a trend and trading the trend. Let me see here. Another one we could use is this one as resistance and this one as support in a way. And so you can draw multiple trend lines, one as support, resistance. You can have, I guess, multiple ones here in this case. And you can kind of figure out where or when price is going to break out of. And so when all the trend lines kind of interlap with each other, like in this case, you know that price is either gonna go to the downside or go to the upside. And so some things to remember is that you want to use a trend line to help identify the trend. Kind of obvious there. Use it between 2 common touches where you believe price is making a higher high, or price is making a lower low, mark out the support and resistance and base the trend line off of that. You can also use the extend tool on the trend line. I'll redo that again. Extend right line right here. And this will extend it to like infinity pretty much and help you out with drawing the trend. If you guys like any of this video, please give me a thumbs up. Plus, I'll leave a link to a free Discord in the description where I post all my trades along with other things that I am working on. Thanks. Bye.